Hello, dear friends. I am Vanessa Anseloni, and I come here to talk to you, the audience of Faith in Children, a beautiful program established by Raquel Murray and friends to help us gather resources to cherish our children, to love our children more, to give them stability in life, mind and body. And I come for you as a psychologist and a neuroscientist. Lately, I have been working especially at the School of Emotion, uh, a program that I have to work with individuals and groups to boosting them the best of their emotions. It's more than therapy. It's an educational therapy, we would say this way. And you can go to our website and get to know more at schoolofemotion.org, or you can write to us at yourschoolofemotion@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to assist you. You know, the times we're living in are very tricky, challenging, especially, we would say, especially for caregivers, for those who are in the front lines, taking care of all the people who are suffering of the coronavirus and other things, the people who are unemployed, but those who stay at home and are helping their children, the educators, that they have double job. They have their children, they have the children of others that they help online, educating them as well. And we have the parents and the babysitters. Some people are still living on their jobs, the au pairs, for example. And I come here to share a few thoughts with you. Of course, we're not going to give a whole workshop, but a few thoughts that may be beneficial to you, to me, to all of us. I'm a parent too, and I tell you, of all things, the most challenging is parenting. We love it, but it's a 24/7 work of the heart, but it's labor intensive, as you know. And right now, what is more critical is the people who are living amongst people who are abusive, people who are downcast and are parents, and how they can help their children if they're not feeling well. Let me give you some reminders, okay? A few of them. I don't want to overwhelm you with many things, but a few topics here and there that may calibrate us for greater resilience, for endurance, and for greater well-being. I'm going to try sharing my screen here with you so you can see what we are talking about. I have a few slides that may be beneficial to us in this understanding of a new paradigm for parents, educators, and caregivers. So here I have with you. I want to share this with you, okay? And it's a mind and body approach. That's why we call it NeuroEmotional wisdom for parents, caregivers, and educators. And I want to share with you that the first and most important concept is I know what I feel. Do you know what you feel? Usually people don't know what they feel. And if you ask them, they say, I know. It's an opportunity to ask, do you know what you feel? Nowadays, there are dictionaries of emotions, and we would recommend that you get yours for you, for your children, for your students. At some point on earth, we're going to bring this in the curriculum in every school. Maybe it's going to take 10, 20, 30, 100 years, but it will, because we are emotional beings and we need to be educated in that regard. It doesn't take parents only. Society as a whole has to take charge of it. What is the difference when you know what you feel? Once you know it, when you name your emotion, you can manage it. As we say, when you name it, you tame it. I learned that expression from a beautiful program from the folks in California, harnessinghappiness.com. Go there and you're going to find beautiful materials to work on emotions for educators, for parents, and it helps children, teens, and adults from dictionaries to cards of emotions, especially the onion head set, because it talks about peeling feelings. It's very good when we know it doesn't haunt us anymore because we are seeing it. Sometimes our feelings of anxiety and the unknown or fear come because we don't know. Once we know it, we start working with it. Let's say, for example, you're feeling afraid. Of course, fear is natural. And fear right now on earth, it's all the more natural. But you say, but Vanessa, I don't like it. I agree with you. But being afraid of being afraid just worsens it. It's like anger. You are angry. Angry that you can't get out of the house and that you can't do everything that you want, that you can't have your break. But being angry at being angry and disliking this anger is not going to help. What do we do? And that's the other step. So first of all, I need to know what I feel. Once you know the emotions, sometimes you talk to a doctor, especially a holistic doctor, a therapist. By knowing what you're feeling, giving names, organizing the emotions, we are set. Completely different from animals. They have no awareness. We do. So we need to boost that emotional awareness. Then the next one, once we identify, we bring it to consciousness, is asking ourselves, what am I feeling? Ask your children too. They feel emotions too. Ask them. Instead of labeling, say, what do you think you're feeling? And you see, the tone of voice matters. This is about emotional body language. And instead of grounding and cursing, and we breathe in and out and we say, what am I feeling now? I'm in distress. Okay, maybe my child is too. That's the concept of emotional intelligence. I know what I feel. I know what others feel. Sometimes saying yes or no is not enough to educate. We need to step a little deeper to manage what is around this yes and no in our educational method. And you know that none of us are parenting any child or educating a child or babysitting a child by chance. There is a purpose. I would say that parenting is a school in itself, the school of parents. And we would say any babysitter, it's not by chance that you have that being in front of you. You have a beautiful opportunity to grow, if and only if we surrender completely to that opportunity, that relationship, and make the best of it. First, by understanding what we're feeling, and then looking at others, understanding what they are feeling. By capturing the body language, you can tell. The more we observe, the more we breathe and become mindful, the easier it is to decode what I'm feeling, what others are feeling. Now, that's the next step. Be more aware of our body language. My body expresses my emotions. People rarely know of this. We know it unconsciously. Since nature, you can see that a lion doesn't need to shout, rabbit, I'm going to get you. The rabbit sees it and goes, perceives, hears. So noises, posture, gestures, tone of voice, facial expression, all of it brings 70+% of our emotional expression. So between you and the child, or your student, or your child that you're babysitting, you are exchanging emotions mostly without words. It's a nonverbal process. So before we say anything, let's be mindful of how we're expressing it. Sometimes I like to play with my child. She's 6 years old. And I say, Virginia, let me take a short video of you now, just so you see your face. Just so in the future you see how you look like. Sometimes she's just happy. Sometimes she's crying. And I say, let me show to you how you look like when you cry. That doesn't mean to repress, but for her awareness. And I show it to her. And she's like, oh, that's funny. I never thought of me like this. And now when she's angry or when she's upset or being sarcastic, and then I show to her, but I am also thinking of myself when I am expressing my emotions. It comes to a point in which one day we're going to be so skillful, and that's not being manipulative or calculating, but it's being wise, emotionally speaking. We're going to emit precisely what we want people to feel. Think about a doctor. You want to feel confident. You want to show people that you know they can trust you. You can't say the words and say, trust me, and people are going to trust you. They may, but majority of people without words, they will look at you, and in the whole body language, they are going to capture if you're reliable or not, if you're accountable or not, if they can trust in you or not. The same for our children. The problem is that most often we are not congruent. We say one thing to our children, but we look differently. So we mean well, but then we're upset. We're mixing with our own emotions. So it's like we're angry. And we say, I told you to stop. And then they react. And it gets worse. Because the way we're saying it, it's beyond just the words. It's the way we say it. You know it. So how do you train it? By observing your body language, looking at yourself more in the mirror, and by observing your child as well, to try to picture them in your brain and decode how they are feeling so you can come across more one. Often, we feel one thing, think another, and say a third one, and maybe even do a fourth one, completely splitted. It's fragmented. Children feel it. They don't feel secure. They start reacting to that insecurity that we're passing on to them. So becoming more congruent, as neuroscience says, becoming more one, facial expression, full body language, and the words, it's going to make the rapport much easier. After all, we are not only the brain, we are multidimensional beings, meaning we have a mind and a body. And science agrees that there is, though they can't explain what it is, we know that we are much more than the physical body. And in that complexity of mind and body, we need to integrate. The body is like a dog, and we are the owners of the dog. The body is reacting to things. So we need to come and work with this physical body. Okay? So in this emotional body language, we observe and help one another, ourselves first, and then understanding our children to manage this relationship. That's why it's important to be mindful of the possible emotional contagion, which means I start feeling what others are feeling. We have to be very careful. In the concept in itself, it's this tendency to feel and express emotions similar to and influenced by others. For example, your children are feeling this way and you start feeling that way too. So it's very complex. Now, for our children, it's the same. Sometimes and oftentimes, they are feeling things that is happening to us in the house because they are the most sensitive ones. The neurochemistry of theirs, the neurobiology of theirs is fully plastic, open to everything that is happening. And we don't need words to make this happen. Stimuli in general can kick in. So what do, right? Well, let's first be aware that in this mind and body connection of ours, we have what we call mirror neurons. And like an experiment that was done, an experimenter was showing his tongue and the monkey showed it in return. And then later they discovered that we have this ability just by looking at others, we start imitating. It's the so-called imprinting, but this was actually discovered as mirror neurons in the year 2002. What happens then? As you are feeling and being, your children look at you and just replicate little things. Little things. And it doesn't matter if your child is being around that caregiver or that teacher or you as a parent for 10 hours or 1 hour. It's enough to imprint. Their children were actually more susceptible to this imprinting than others. They are more impressionable. So we have to be very careful, because then we have to always take care of the consequences of it all. So what do? Knowing of it, we can take care of ourselves more. Why? That's the good news. Because if by just looking at you, by being around you, they pick up, take care of yourself. Worry less about what I can do. I see many parents that are worried about entertaining their kids. You don't need to entertain them, because that's not what they came to do in life. It's very deceiving to spend a whole childhood being entertained. And then when they come to teenage years, they get to know that life is not all about play. And they become depressed because we've trained them to be in the play mode all the time. Doing the chores at home as naturally as it is a good training. All the studies in science, especially one that was done by Stanford, shows that children who participate in the daily chores, they become more functional adults. Better marriages, better relationships in general, better work relationships, and health. So by being, we just pass it on to them. That makes life so much easier, right? We can breathe. You don't need to be constantly there, only for them, forgetting about you. Take care of yourself with your love, and by doing so, you're emanating it to them. By doing the things you need to do with love, they are picking up the love that you're doing with things. If you work on your job with love, they're going to adore loving one day. But if we don't love it, they're going to pick up from the get-go. I know parents who don't like school, and they pass it on to their children. They pass this feeling that it's not good, that drag, and children pick up on that too. So by doing things in the way that is healthy for us, it naturally passes on to them. So now the final points I want to share with you as reminders for this critical moment in life in general is about how we can perform this emotional hygiene when we're not feeling well, which is so natural. Know that you can change what you feel. Emotion means externalizing motion. So I'm putting something out. That doesn't mean you're defined by it. When I see people saying, I am an angry person, I feel so sorry. You're not an angry person. Maybe you've been angry, but you're not. I'm a sad person. No, you're not a sad person. You've been sad. So you can change it. You're not defined by your emotion, and neither are our children. So look at them as you look at yourself and say, I can change it. That's why I recommend to you to do some hygiene with this relaxation response that Dr. Herbert Benson teaches us. He is this leader in the field of understanding ourselves holistically at Harvard University. He has been researching on relaxation response for 30 years. And we would say relaxing and shifting to healthier emotions is the best way to cleanse our emotions. As he says, the relaxation response is a physical state of deep rest that changes the physical and emotional responses to stress and the opposite of the fight or flight. Remember, your physical body is ready to protect yourself. So if you are on the alert all the time, that's pretty bad. I know when we're around children all the time, it's hard not to be on this fight or flight. But all you can do is this. Breathe. You can read more about it in his book, Relaxation Revolution. But breathe. Like we've been learning with the beautiful experts here at Faith in Children. Mindful meditation, healthy exercises, spirituality, all of it. So breathe in, it's that abdominal breathing. Breathing in deeply and out slowly. You're going to shift in 3 deep breaths. You start shifting from turning the sympathetic system, which is the fight or flight, to the parasympathetic. And thus you are constantly recharging yourself, breathing in and out. Let's say your child just painted the wall and you're like, oh my gosh, fight or flight, choose. I choose to stay cool. 3 breaths before you say anything, you do anything. Sometimes with your partner. Say, I can choose. What people do does not make me react. I breathe in and out. And by doing so, I am cleansing my body and my mind from those emotions. And then you choose healthy emotions to achieve this balance. I choose healthy emotions. And of all healthy emotions in this true mindfulness, I would say love is all about it. And science, especially neuroscience, has proved to us that love is so tangible. It can be neuropictured, neuroimaged. Yes, it's in your body, it's in your brain. Choose love as the mission of this organization, Faith in Children. Let's choose love for ourselves and for others. Do you believe in love? If you do, let's cultivate it like a garden. This is what I wanted to share with you. I know maybe nothing of this is new to you, but just reminding us of these steps is already very, very reassuring, isn't it? We need more of these good feelings, choosing these emotions, taming our physical body to feel at our best. I wish you a beautiful time wherever you are, learning from this experience of the pandemic, because I know it's not by chance that we're experiencing this. There are reasons that we may not explain, but they exist. And trusting that we're here always to progress in beautiful emotions, happy thoughts for a happy life. Thank you very much.